Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
So it's this English learning podcast called Daily Money Briefing.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
It's actually pretty cool. You get the
Yeah.
financial news and kind of a language lesson all in one.
Oh, I like that. Sort of killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly. Today we're diving into three really key global developments. We're going to try and pull out the most important nuggets, those aha moments. We're looking at the Federal Reserve's latest on interest rates, South Korea's big push into its own AI, and also their new standards for eco-friendly housing.
Right. And what's fascinating, I think, is how these aren't totally separate things. They really show how countries are trying to balance, well, economic pressures, tech competition, and those crucial sustainability targets. So we'll unpack what it all really means for you.
Okay, let's jump right in then. First up, global finance. The U.S. Federal Reserve, they just decided, again, to keep the benchmark interest rate where it is, 4.25 to 4.5%. That makes it the fourth pause in a row. Now, we were sort of expecting maybe half a percentage point in cuts this year, but, well, something else has come up.
That's right. The latest dot plot, that chart showing where Fed officials see rates going, it threw a bit of a curveball. It turns out more members of the committee now expect, well, no more rate cuts at all for the rest of this year. And the main reason seems to be growing worries about inflation sticking around, especially because of rising tariffs. Fed Chair Jerome Powell actually warned tariffs could raise prices and place additional burdens on economic activity. So a slower path to cuts seems likely.
So if they're that worried about inflation, is there a risk this caution slows down the economy too much? Or is the market kind of ready for rates staying higher for longer? Well, what's the takeaway for, your planning?
It definitely signals we're in for a period of, let's say, vigilance. Yeah.
Okay, moving on from finance, let's shift over to South Korea. Big news there. They announced a really bold plan on June 18th to build their own domestic AI platform. It seems like part of a much bigger strategy, right?
hmm
To boost cutting-edge sectors like AI, semiconductors, biotech.
Oh, absolutely. It's ambitious. The investment plans are quite aggressive. AI data centers are getting reclassified as national strategic facilities. That means big tax credits, like 15 to 25% on investments. But here's a really interesting bit. They're bringing in something called a timeout system for regulations. Basically, if approval doesn't happen in a set time, it's automatically approved, like a fast track to cut through all that red tape. It's pretty radical, actually. It shows a real government commitment to speed things up, almost forcing innovation faster.
Wow, that timeout system sounds efficient, almost too efficient. Are there any potential downsides, like things getting missed in the rush? And what does this kind of focused government push mean for, say, global AI competition?
It's definitely a calculated risk, prioritizing speed. A fascinating gamble, really.
And South Korea's not done. They've got another major initiative rolling out. Starting June 30th, all new private apartments have to meet new zero energy building standards, ZEB, they call it. I mean, think about your new apartment basically helping to power itself.
Exactly. ZEB means drastically cutting down on primary energy use, electricity from traditional sources like hydrothermal, nuclear, and instead relying much more on renewables like solar power installed right there. The ministry involved is giving developers some flexibility too. They can choose to hit strict performance goals or just follow set technical guidelines. That performance option is key. It focuses on the end result saving energy without being overly prescriptive on how developers get there. Makes buildings part of the climate solution.
Okay, aiming for carbon neutrality is great, obviously. But could these strict ZAB standards make housing less affordable for people? Is that a trade-off they're ready for? And looking bigger picture, could the South Korean model become like a blueprint for green cities elsewhere?
That's always the balance, isn't it? Affordability versus sustainability. But they seem pretty committed to this path.
So recapping then,
Hmm.
we've got the Fed being watchful on inflation and South Korea making these big simultaneous moves in high-tech AI and green building. It really underscores how connected all these global pressures are, doesn't it?
It really does. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. As nations juggle their own economic health with these huge external goals, how will these efforts, in finance, AI, and green tech all coming together, how will they actually reshape the global landscape? And what could that mean for the kind of future you see ahead? Something to mull over.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.